Hi, Marianne Fessenden here from AMTS. Our next video in the MixALot tutorial is another slightly longer one. This video will demonstrate the steps in creating recipes, setting up calf groups, and the approach to getting optimization right. In our previous video, we got as far as characterizing the waste or calf milk on the farm and selecting other ingredients used for the liquid part of feeding your milk calves. Now we need to create recipes. To start out, click Create New Recipe. Give it a name. In this case, I'm calling it New Calves. The top section of this screen allows you to set up nutrient constraints. The first that I set is the final total solids. I'm going to set it to 14.5 for this example. After adding that information here, I click Save. Now I set up nutrient constraints. Clicking on the nutrients control, I can select by checkbox those nutrients that I want to include in my constraints. I typically select protein and fat. Future iterations of the program may allow constraining by specific amino acids or fatty acids, but that is not yet possible. Click Submit to return to the nutrient constraint section. By constraints, we mean what range do you require the mix to fall into. These are necessary for optimizing, and these are hard constraints. The program will not violate them even by 1/100th of a pound or 100th of a unit. For that reason, I like to leave them pretty open when first formulating. I would set these between 10 and 50 for right now. I'll come back to final setup after we see the initial solutions. Remember to click the Save button to lock in the numbers before moving to the next section. This section brings in the recipe's regular ingredients chosen from the feeds you added in the Feeds tab. A couple of things to note. If you are working with only the parlor or waste milk and you have requested that the final total solids on the recipe is higher than that of the available milk, you will need to add a balancer or a complete milk replacer. Waste milk is automatically included in all recipes. If you are trying to mix a milk replacer into higher total solids content than is on the label, but not intending to use any parlor milk, make sure you untick this box. There is a challenge to the logical process of constraining waste milk inclusion, and it's a programming issue. By program design, the Mix Optimizer is not able to constrain waste milk. If you want to include only a certain quantity of parlor milk in a recipe, bring it in as a whole milk in the feed section and untick this waste milk selection box. Then you can set constraints on the milk as an ingredient. In these columns, set the maximum and minimum inclusion rates. Make certain you have set the price, because the mix is formulated by best cost optimization. An ingredient desired in the diet must be ticked. The next selection allows you to add the available dosage type ingredients to the farm. Because they are set rate inclusions, they are excluded from the optimizer and will be added either at a per calf or per specific volume amount. Once you have the ingredients in, let's move to the calves page. We will come back to refine the optimizer settings on the nutrients after you've created a calf group and run the MixALot optimizer to see where you are. The first step is to create a group. Click the Add Group button and create a name. In the calf groups and feeds amount, fill in the information about feeding rate. Skipping an explanation for expected rate of gain for now, add the number of calves expected in that group and choose a recipe to feed them. Now, coming back to that rate of gain, this is a reference number, and by that I mean that MixALot does not calculate the expected rate of gain from the formula offered. The program makes no such assessment. This value is used to calculate the cost for an inputted rate of gain. Note that all the information in this grid is on a per feeding basis, not per day. In the Apply Recipe to Group column, all the recipes you have created and saved are available for selection in the drop-down. In this way, you can save seasonal recipes, recipes that have ingredients that are only periodically available, or any other recipe you may want to preserve but are not currently feeding. At the bottom of the feeding grid is a field called Mix Extra. The program is mathematical. It will calculate to the pound, kilogram, or volume measurement exactly how much of each recipe is needed. In doing so, it assumes exact measurements of feeding rate and no overflow. We watched bottles being filled at a large farm and there is spillage. This input allows for a percentage of excess to be mixed, thereby eliminating the frustration of needing to mix more when it's discovered that the feeder spilled 1%. On 1,000 calves, that means 10 calves. Facilities that have groups of that many calves do not necessarily have the ability to easily mix more with the accuracy that those 10 calves deserve. Once the calf groups and feed amounts are set, click the MixALot button to run the optimizer. If, due to a challenge with recipe setup, the program is unable to solve, you'll get an oops message with a link to a document that will provide an outline of some common setup issues that keep the program from solving. If you set things up with an eye to being able to solve, congratulations! Either way, now go back to the recipes that you set up and check the optimizer parameters and see where the nutrients landed. Now is the time to tweak your recipe. The optimizer will prioritize final total solids. If, with the ingredients specified in the recipe, it is unable to reach the desired solids, it will not solve. For example, if you desire 14% final total solids, but are only providing parlor or waste milk that has 13.25% solids, MixALot will not solve. So, resolve the solids issue first. Then look at the nutrients. Are they where you want them to be? To change the protein or fat levels, you may need to consider adding ingredients to your recipe. The process of creating the recipes that will meet your goals of performance and health is potentially iterative. You make a change, save it, run the optimizer by clicking MixALot. Eventually, you will get to where you need to be. Once that is done, you, as the calf manager, should not need to do much until you need to change a recipe. This is a good place to end this video. We have a few loose ends to tie up for manager inputs. Our next video will look at reports after optimizing and show how to invite the calf feeder to the program. As always, we are happy to help you with questions and clarifications when you contact us at support@agmodelsystems.com. Thank you for watching.